Hello, and welcome to the Night Sky Reader. I'm here with a story to help you relax, meditate, or gently drift to sleep. Tonight, the small book for tomorrow. Settle in, close your eyes if you'd like, and let's begin. You set the first fold into the paper, and it lands with a soft, decisive hush. Outside the workshop window, a single bright star seems to hold still, as if watching your hands choose slowness. The rest of the room waits in dimness, just the one warm task lamp pooling light onto the bench, onto the small stack of blank paper you carried in tonight. The wood grain beneath your palms is smooth from years of use, cool at the edges where the night has settled into it. You came here to make something simple, a small book for someone who cannot sleep. Her voice on the phone tonight was thin and careful, the kind of careful that comes from too many wakeful hours, from a mind that cannot find its way back down. "I just need somewhere to put it all," she said, then laughed, deprecating. "You did not know what to offer except this, your hands, the quiet workshop, the promise of something that will hold. That responsibility sits quiet in your chest, neither heavy nor sharp, just present, like the hum of the lamp that fills the silence when you stop moving. You wash your hands at the sink, feeling the water run cool, then tepid, then cool again, and dry them on the cotton towel that hangs there. Your palms smell clean now, faintly of the unscented soap, the mineral trace of tap water. The motion takes time. You let it. When you look up, Orion has drifted into view through the window, 3 bright stars in a line, a slow metronome against the dark. You are not racing the night. You are moving with it. The glass is cold when you touch it, drawing heat from your fingertip, and you pull back, returning to the bench where the work waits. You bring the paper to the center of the bench. 10 sheets, maybe 12, enough for a slim volume, something that opens easily in one hand. The paper is cream-colored, smooth but not slick, with a faint tooth that will take pencil well when someone writes. You flex one sheet gently, bending it first one way, then the other. One direction yields more easily, the fibers running parallel like combed hair. Grain direction. You mark it with a light pencil tick at the corner, so you will not forget, then align all the sheets the same way, parallel to the future spine. This is the first kindness you offer the book, the promise that it will open without fighting itself, page after page, lie flat without cracking. The stack squares easily under your hands. You tap the edges against the bench, listening to the small percussion of aligned sheets, feeling them settle into agreement. The paper smells dry and faintly sweet, the way linen closets smell after years of holding clean things. You lay out the tools in a calm row. The bone folder, creamy and dense, warms quickly when you palm it. The metal ruler, cool at the edge. The pencil, the awl with its smooth wooden handle that fits your grip like it was turned for you alone. The spool of linen thread, the small cake of beeswax waiting in its tin. A glue brush with soft bristles, waste paper to protect the bench, 2 pressing boards scarred from years of steady use. You will not need everything tonight, but seeing them there steadies the sequence in your mind. You do not have to rush. You do not have to finish so you can sleep. You only have to fold, and fold again, and let the repetition teach your shoulders to drop. You divide the paper into small groups, 3 sheets each, a comfortable thickness. These will be your signatures, your choirs. You take the first group and crease it gently with your fingertips, finding the center, gauging where the fold wants to fall. Then you set the warmed bone folder into the valley of the fold. The folder whispers as it slides along the paper, a crisp, intimate sound, pressing the fibers into a clean, sharp memory. You work from the center outward, pushing air and hesitation ahead of you, leaving a sheen along the spine of the signature where the folder has burnished the paper into submission. The corners come almost square. You nudge them true with the pad of your thumb, feeling the layers align, the edges meeting with only the smallest breath of variance. Not perfect, but consistent. Consistent is enough. You set this signature aside and take up the next group. The second fold lands with the same soft hush. Your hands remember the motion already, fingers finding center, bone folder gliding, pressure even and unhurried. The rhythm is establishing itself now, the way a heartbeat establishes itself after you stop running, settling back into its resting cadence. You fold the third, then the fourth, each one a small completion, each one a promise kept to the next. The paper accepts without protest. Your breath arrives and departs in time with the motion. Inhale as you position, exhale as you crease. You are not thinking about her careful voice. You are folding paper, and that is all. By the time the last signature is folded and stacked under a light weight, a clean brick wrapped in cloth, your shoulders have dropped. The urgency you carried in has thinned like steam. The lamp hums. Through the window, Orion has shifted slightly higher, patient and indifferent, keeping watch the way a mountain keeps watch, the way stone keeps watch over rivers. With the signatures folded, you make a simple punching guide from a scrap of the same paper, folded to match the height of your book. 5 stations, 1 near the head, 1 near the tail, 1 at the center, and 2 spaced evenly between. You measure twice, mark small crosses in pencil, then measure again. The graphite is soft against the paper, a gray whisper of intention. You set the first signature into the cradle of your hand, opening it to the center fold, and you take up the awl. The wooden handle is smooth and slightly tapered, fitting your grip with the ease of an old conversation. You position the point at the first mark. The awl bites with a small, satisfying crunch, parting the fibers rather than tearing them. You rotate the handle slightly as you press, letting the tool find its way through the fold, feeling the resistance and then the give as the point emerges on the other side. You withdraw it smoothly. The hole remains, clean and round, a door waiting for thread. You pierce the next station, and the next. The motion becomes a small ceremony. Position, press, rotate, withdraw. The awl's handle warms in your grip. The sound it makes is private, almost secret, the soft crunch of a path being opened. You check each hole as you go, peering through to confirm the alignment, making sure the angle is straight so the thread will pass easily later. 1 signature done. You work through the rest with the same steady attention, the same small ceremony, until all 5 signatures are pierced. You check alignment by holding them together as a loose stack, peering through the holes like a child looking through a keyhole, confirming that the paths connect. They do. They will. You prepare the thread. The linen is unbleached, strong without being harsh, the color of winter straw. You measure a generous length against your outstretched arm, then cut it with small, sharp scissors that snip cleanly and fall silent. The cut end frays slightly. You will fix that. You draw the thread across the cake of beeswax. Once, twice, 3 times, 4. The thread darkens slightly as it takes up the wax, turning quieter in your fingers, smoother, less inclined to tangle or catch. The beeswax smells sweet and ancient, like stored sunlight, like the inside of a hive cooled by evening. The scent rises faintly into the still air of the workshop, mixing with the paper smell, the faint trace of wood dust that lives in every corner. The thread feels different now, more purposeful. You thread the needle, the waxed linen sliding through the eye with only the smallest resistance, and you knot the end with a small neat tail that will not slip through the holes. The knot sits against your thumbnail, firm and reliable. The sewing begins. You start at the center station of the first signature, pushing the needle through from the inside out. The waxed thread slides easily, whispering through the paper. You pull until the knot catches with a soft bump against the fold. The thread emerges on the outside of the spine, pale linen against cream paper, and you guide it to the next station. In, out, around. The needle glints briefly in the lamplight when you lift it. The linen makes a slight, dry squeak as it pulls through the waxed holes, a sound like a whispered secret being passed from one page to the next. You keep the tension snug but not tight, tight enough to hold the pages together, loose enough to let the paper breathe and open flat. Too tight and the paper will strain and buckle, too loose and the spine will slouch. Just enough, You are learning what just enough feels like in your fingertips, in the slight resistance of the thread against your pull. You complete the first signature and pause, setting the needle down carefully. It clicks faintly against the bench. You stroke the sewn spine with your fingertip, feeling the thread, feeling the small ridges where it crosses the fold. Satisfying. Real. You add the next signature, matching pierced holes to the path you have already made, weaving the thread through in a pattern that locks this one to the first. The book grows by gentle increments, stitch by stitch, page gathering to page. Your hands know this rhythm now. Your mind has stopped calculating and started noticing the drag of the thread, the give of the paper, the way your exhale times itself to each pull, as if your lungs have learned the pace of the work. At the third signature, the needle catches. Not badly, just a small snag where the point finds resistance instead of passage. You pause, back the needle out slightly, feel for the angle, adjust. There. The thread slides through clean. You pull gently, checking tension, and continue. The mistake, if it was one, has already disappeared into the rhythm. The book does not need perfection, it needs presence. You work through the remaining signatures with deepening quiet, the thread sinking through each station, knotting neatly between sections, building the spine stitch by stitch. Your breathing has slowed without your asking it to. The room feels smaller and more protected, the darkness at the edges no longer empty but companionable. Outside, through the window, Orion has climbed higher still, the belt stars tilted at a steeper angle now. Time has passed. You did not measure it. By the time the last signature is sewn, the thread sinking through the final station and knotting neatly against the spine, the book block exists. It is a real thing now, pages gathered and held, a spine of thread and fiber and patience. You set it between the pressing boards while you prepare the next quiet stage, and it rests there like something sleeping. You protect the bench with fresh waste paper, smooth and clean, and turn the sewn block spine up. The glue is neutral PVA, clean-smelling, faintly sharp and reassuringly inert. You dip the brush and let the excess drip back into the jar, watching the thick liquid fall in a slow rope. The brush holds just enough. You apply a thin coat to the spine, just enough to tack down the thread and quiet any lift in the fibers. The bristles whisper against the linen and paper, a soft, repetitive sound, almost musical. The glue goes on translucent, catching the light, coating the thread in a thin, protective skin. You work with easy, even strokes, feeling the give of the bristles, the slight drag as adhesive meets absorbent paper. You lay a narrow strip of thin Japanese tissue over the spine as a gentle liner, brushing over it to bed it into the fresh glue, smoothing it with a dampened fingertip. The tissue softens under the moisture, becoming almost translucent, melting into the spine. You press gently, feeling it adhere, feeling the cool smoothness turn to slight tack as the adhesive grips. The spine darkens momentarily with moisture, then begins to lighten as the glue sets. You close the book carefully, protective, and wipe any stray adhesive from the edges with a soft cloth dampened at the sink. The cloth comes away clean. You place the book under light pressure between the boards, setting a modest weight on top. It must rest now. The glue needs time to cure. The fibers need time to accept their new arrangement. You practice waiting the way you want her to rest, not suspended in anxiety, not counting minutes, simply held in place while the materials settle and bond. While the spine sets, you make the cover. You measure the text block with the ruler, noting the height, the width, the modest thickness at the spine. The pencil marks go onto the cover stock with a light hand, erasable if needed. You cut carefully, the blade whispering through the heavy paper, leaving a margin all around, modest squares, modest rectangles, so the pages will be protected but not imprisoned. You score the fold lines with the back of the knife, pressing channels into the stock where the cover will bend. The sound is snap soft, the paper accepting its future shape, the fibers compressing under the blunt edge. You run your fingernail along each score to deepen it, feeling the groove. You test fit the cover around the block, opening and closing, feeling how the hinge wants to fall, how the book wants to close. The margins look even. The corners meet cleanly. You adjust slightly, a millimeter here, persuading rather than forcing. Then you adhere the cover with a controlled thin layer of glue, smoothing from the center outward with the heel of your hand, expelling air, inviting contact. The cover takes the block, and the motion feels like an embrace, protective but not confining. You close the book and feel it in your hand. It has weight now, a different presence, a different sound when you set it down, not the rustle of loose pages, but the muted thump of a bound thing, complete. You check the edges. There are tiny variances, as there always are. A corner that is almost, but not perfectly square. A margin that breathes by a millimeter more on one side than the other. You could fuss. You could lift and re-adhere, correcting, pursuing the perfect you imagine. Instead, you close the book and hold it, feeling the gentle heft, the smooth cover, the way it sits naturally in your palm, pleasant in the hand. That is the standard. That is enough. The small book has become itself. You place it between clean sheets of waste paper, then set it into the press on the side table. The press handle turns smoothly, bringing the plates together with steady, even pressure. The mechanism closes with a muted finality, a deep exhale of wood and metal, and the room seems to settle with it, as if the space itself has been holding its breath. You stop. Your hand rests on the press handle. The responsibility you carried in, the worry that this will not be enough, that she will still lie awake counting hours, shifts somewhere inside you, not disappearing but loosening, the way a knotted thread loosens when you stop pulling against it. The book will sleep there now, pressed into its final shape, the adhesive curing slowly in the dark. What it holds it will hold, what it cannot carry was never yours to lift. Before you close the press completely, you release it one last time and open the book to the first page. The paper is smooth and waiting. The pen is a simple one, blue-black ink, the barrel warm from your pocket. You uncap it, and the ink smells faintly of iron and tree sap, a clean, private scent. You write one line, understated, true. Here is a place to set things down. The letters form easily, without flourish. You let the ink dry for a moment, watching it change from wet shine to matte permanence, then close the cover gently and return the book to its rest between the pressing plates. You cap the pen and set it aside. That is all the inscription needs to be. An invitation, a permission. You return the tools to their places. The bone folder slides into its drawer with a quiet shush. The awl stands in its cup with the other pointed tools, handle up, safe. The ruler lies flat in its designated spot. You wipe the bench with a dry cloth, slow circular motions, removing the dust of paper and wax and graphite, the small debris of making. The cloth comes away faintly gray, evidence of the night's quiet labor. You rinse the glue brush at the sink, working the bristles under cool running water until it runs clear, no trace of adhesive left to stiffen and ruin the tool. You set it bristles up in a jar to dry, a small act of care for the next time whenever that will be. The workshop is almost as you found it. Quieter now, simpler. The making is done. You stand at the window. The glass is cold against your fingertips when you touch it again, drawing heat from your skin, and this time you let your hand rest there, feeling the chill, feeling the solidity of the barrier between the warm room and the vast cold beyond. Orion has shifted higher now, the 3 stars of the belt tilted at a different angle, confirming the passage of hours you did not measure by any clock. The stars do not hurry. They keep their distance, steady and indifferent, burning with the slow fire of distant suns while the earth turns beneath them, oblivious to books and sleep and small gifts made in the dark. You turn off the lamp. The click is small and definitive. The room dims to starlight and shadow, the faint gleam of the window glass, the deeper dark where the book rests under boards. Your eyes adjust slowly. Shapes emerge. The edge of the bench, the silhouette of the press, the doorway leading back into the rest of the house. You hear the buildings settle, the wood contracting in the cool night, tiny creaks and sighs. Outside, nothing moves. Inside, everything is still. The tightness in your chest has set itself down somewhere behind you in the dark. Your hands are tired in a good way. Your breath comes easy now. The night holds you both, the binder and the bound, in the quiet dark. The workshop smells of paper and beeswax and clean wood, faint and familiar. You can still feel the threads whisper through your fingertips, the soft hush of each fold, the muted finality of the press. Tomorrow the book will be there, resting on the side table, pages open and willing. Sleep will arrive like thread drawn through wax, smooth, quiet, inevitable. The book is finished. The night is patient. And you, standing in the dim workshop under distant stars, are finally still. Thank you for spending this time with the Night Sky Reader. May your night be peaceful. Until next time, rest well.